Well, hello. We're back with another fun project. We're going to pull the turbo off because one little nut broke and caused all kinds of problems. So unfortunately, the stud snapped, and it looked like it also unthreaded from the turbo, which may or may not be a good thing. We're going to find out here soon. But because of that, we had an exhaust leak, which clogged the air filter, which I'll post a picture of here, which then let the engine not breathe, lost boost, slowed down. Fortunately, I think the turbo is okay, as long as those threads are still good. I started some disassembly, like I got the air filter off and the crankcase breather and a couple other pieces, but I'm gonna go ahead and get the coolant line and oil line off and get those out of the way, and then there shouldn't be anything left holding the turbo on except for those 4 studs, and I think those are just O-rings in there. You know, I actually have no idea how heavy this is, and we're just gonna send it. I don't know if this has to come off altogether because I need to slide the turbo back, and that's not gonna let me do that. Alright, well, that's a turbo, and it's fairly heavy, but it is out. I did have to unbolt like the air intake there. I mean, I guess that's supposed to come apart there, because I got new pieces and new gaskets actually, but I couldn't wiggle it apart on the engine, so I'll do that off the engine. But well, it's off, and that doesn't look bad or cracked or anything, so that looks pretty good. Initial look there, again, not too bad. I think we just had a stud snap off. Oh, gone. The good news is that's moving, so I think, and I hope, the threads are, yeah, I mean, they seem fine. Gosh, I guess it really just snapped and then it worked its way out, because I mean, those are, you know, all loose, so I should be able to get all those apart, new studs, new gaskets, all that. Getting everything prepped for paint in the sanding booth. Well, are you really having fun until you're installing a turbocharger via your living room and onto the boat engine? I've got a bunch of parts, more parts, parts diagram, freshly painted, gonna start putting things back together. Just argued for 15 minutes with myself on which way the turbo gasket goes, but I think I got that figured out. So let's start putting things back together. I really want to get the turbo put back on. That's going to be the biggest hurdle, then everything else kind of just falls back into place. So I want to make sure I get this 100% correct. I don't want to do this again. Let's get to it. The good news is I think we pretty much figured out the turbo question of which way the gasket goes. Based on these 2 indentations, focus maybe, it definitely has like the bubble up going towards the exhaust manifold, because there's only 1 indentation on the exhaust manifold, so that pretty much makes me feel really good about that. The 2 lines there, so that's no problem. Gonna get these studs put in with a dab of anti-seize, wind those in nice, and then really I think I gotta put the turbo back on this piece because that kind of all needs to slide together. That gasket's still in really good shape, so I think we're going to leave that. It didn't even tear whatsoever. So, alright, I'm going to get these studs in, get that assembled, and we'll be ready to put the turbo back on the exhaust manifold. Some people like to really go crazy with the ENTCs. I'm pretty confident that a little dab will do ya. I've seen some people end up turning silver just a tiny bit. One. So these studs were only hand tight when I pulled them out, so like I'm just gonna, you know, tighten them as much as I can by hand, and I'm not even gonna put a wrench on any of this. I think if they wanted them any tighter, you know, you want to be able to get them back out at some point if you ever have to. And then this will go just like that. Alright, so that is good there. The next piece fits in there. Yep. And we'll connect these two. Of course, we have new O-rings. There's one. Of course, like referencing, you know, parts manuals are nice to have. Make sure you're not screwing up too bad. Bigger O-ring. Those. I do have some dielectric grease thermal compound. It's silicone based, and that should be safe. I'm pretty confident this is going to be very tight because it took some, well, alright, maybe not. Maybe when you lubricate it, everything just goes together. Well, it took pry bars and multiple screwdrivers to get that apart last time, but I guess all the grease had probably roasted out of it. It wasn't really a good surface anymore. Alright, let's try to get this back on the motor, and I guess we'll just adjust this once everything kind of in place. Nice and easy into the hole. Alright. Nut. Oh! Dude. You know, I should have had two. Should have had two ready. Okay. Take two. This is honestly, that was honestly par for the course. I'm not even worried about that. Alright, nut right there. Paint still not dry. Okay. Okay. All right. Come on. Just give me a little bit. No? Come on, come on. Okay, all right, I got one on. Whew. All right, so now the turbo's not gonna fall off. The next smart thing to do is make sure that this elbow still going to go on like it should with the turbo in place. And bring y'all in for close up as I'm Already drenched. All right, turbo is in place. Those fasteners are hand tight. Got two started there just to keep everything in place. Of course, we've got the oil line to go back, and I think the coolant line down here, which is, oh, I should have replaced that gasket first. Oh crap. All right, take 3. New gasket, that's good. New connector piece, new O-ring, new flange, done. We have the gasket that's going to go here, but I'll be able to slide that in, so I'm going to leave that sitting right here. I'll get the old piece that was all destroyed, so good to get that replaced. Got that. All right, I'm going to put this back on. You've already seen that once and seen me struggle twice. You don't need to see it 3 times. All right, after the turbo is finally back on correctly, we've got new gaskets and everything for the oil return, coolant supply is now in as well. So that's looking good. Gonna clean up the exhaust flange and put the new V-band clamp on. I've got the transmission mount back in. I'm gonna either mount the cooler now or get that other bracket slid in there. But right now I'm gonna clean up the exhaust flange, get that put back on, and we'll move back over here to the bracketry. All right, fast forward about 10 days. I got the coolant and was away on travel, but we are back. We're gonna fill it up, hit the bleed, and go from there. Peel off the tape, start it up, hope nothing leaks. Gotta cut the crank hose, breather hose, and gosh, I think we're about it. I can't stall much longer, so let me fill it up with some more coolant and keep rolling. Okay, well that's bottle number 2 out of 3 that I bought. I mean, I can see it in there, but I still feel air coming out of the bleeds. Oh boy. I hope I have enough. I didn't think that this much would have come out of it, but I guess it was a lot. If only I had one of the 7 funnels less than 10 feet away from me. All right, that's got to be really close. And shut them off and clean up this little bit of coolant I spilled up here. And geez, I think I'm ready to start it. Okay, it's running. Still pretty much at the top. Put some hose clamps there, but that'll be fine for right now. Honestly, this should be 1 1/4. 1/8 was a little tight. restart the other engine and let that warm up. I haven't ran that in a while either. So far I don't see anything dripping, so yeesh, so far so good. Ooh, about to catch a little bit left of a nice sunset. Gotta work on that still. That's just a bad connection underneath there. 13s, not under 12. Whoops, that's wrong. I guess I have the transmission backwards on that. I guess I got the primary and secondary solenoid switched, which is weird because pretty sure I put it back the right way, but we'll check that out here. All right, warm her up a little bit. Put her up to 1,000 and circulate some coolant here. Well, I'm really happy with that. From everything I can tell, we don't have any leaks or issues going on right now. Everything looked like it settled nicely into place. Yeah, I actually couldn't be any happier with that. You never know. I mean, you could have a little slight coolant leak, or you could have a little bit of oil leak, but everything looks good. I mean, it definitely warmed up to where I can almost not hold my hand on it, which is good. Temperatures were even with the other motor. You know, we got up to about 140 degrees, so I'm gonna let it, obviously it heat cycled some, probably built some pressure, let it cool back down, and I'm not gonna open that up now because it's definitely warm now. But we'll check it again. But according to the manual, it was just fill it up and bleed from there, and there to let air out. But I mean, everything was nominal. Like, kind of, it was all about the same temperature, so coolant is, you know, definitely flowing. About 135, 140 is where it got up to. So with that, I think I'm gonna call this pretty good. The only thing left to do is clean up a little bit. I did have the solenoids swapped, so when I put the boat in forward, it went backwards, and I was tied up at the dock just to bump it into gear to test everything, because I always like to do that to make sure I have gear before letting the lines go. But that just took a second to swap primary and secondary, because the engines both rotate counterclockwise like a normal engine, but the transmissions on This boat and many modern boats are actually what do the reversing or the counter rotation for the second engine. So these transmissions support full reverse or full power in reverse, so they're bi-directional, whatever you want to call them. So this transmission runs in reverse to go forward, or I don't know if it's port or starboard. Anyway, had the solenoids in the wrong spot because I matched the starboard engine. Swap those, good to go. So with that, much success. Gonna let it cool down, button a few things up, just hose clamp there, and we'll go on to the next one. If you can, hit that subscribe button for me for many more videos to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.